Hello and welcome. I'm Martha, the founder of Opal&Finch, a luxury travel firm. Our mission is inspiring connections through travel, connections to ourselves, each other, and the world. Join us today as we find inspiration in river cruising along the Garonne in Bordeaux, France. I'm joined by Laurie Smith with Amawaterways, and today we're going to get answers about what it's really like to go river cruising with Ama. We're going to explore the Amawaterways River Cruise, A Taste of Bordeaux. It's 7 nights sailing on the Garonne and Dordogne rivers, filled with delicious French wines, fun adventures, all while traveling through a truly special place.
Thank you, Martha. Let's get started. Very beautiful journey, very beautiful journey. So just a little bit about that. It's a lot jam-packed into a little bit of river. And just to give you a perspective, if you're new to river cruising, ocean cruising takes you around countries, right? And then when you think about it, it really makes sense. And rivers take you right through them.
I love that. River cruising is all about going through a country, not just to a country. So, Laurie, I think I'm like a lot of people, and Paris is what comes to mind when I think of France. The Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, those bridges, a little cafe on Saint-Germain. It's the Paris of the movies. But what I'm hearing is there's a completely different way to experience France that is as delightful. To do this, one needs to go out amidst the beautiful French vineyards, where the pace of life is set a little slower, more on enjoy. I really like the idea of getting to go through and experience a country rather than just sort of doing a run-by. So what makes river cruising such a great idea for vacation, and why would we do it with Amawaterways?
We're basically an all-inclusive product. So once you pay your rate, everything else is included. And think about only unpacking once. That's the beauty. You're going to use as a floating hotel. You've got a choice of up to 6 excursions to take every day. You can stay as active as you want. Or remember, this is your vacation. You can just lounge around and maybe read a book or catch up on just the beautiful scenery. So it's really up to you. We can keep you going from morning to night or half of that time. It's up to you. Up to 6 excursions to choose from a day. Very active. You can bike it or hike it. It's up to you. We have those small personal groups that can be anywhere from 9 to 15, and sometimes even smaller than that. Just depends on what you want to do. There you see an active group biking along the river.
Does Ama have someone on board who helps coordinate these activities, or do guests just go about it themselves?
But we do have a wellness host that will accommodate you on your bike rides or just there if you want to do a yoga or stretching class. And you can say, I'm not exercising on my vacation, but sometimes we'll start with 5 and then we'll end up with half the ship, doing stretching in the morning.
That's enough talk about exercise. I think we move on to something more fun. How about we talk about food and dining? What can we know?
Our main restaurant, that's where you're going to eat probably most of your dining with menu choices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Have tapas at night for you to enjoy. And then, of course, 3 o'clock, you may have high tea with fabulous pairing. And in France, all that chocolate and croissants and everything freshly made for you to enjoy. And then we're part of the dining. We have the chef's table. And the chef's table is very special because we're part of Le Chain de Rôtissière, which is a culinary membership. And you can indulge with this. It seats 24 people. And you can dine with the captain sometimes or the cruise manager. But it's a pairing of 9 courses with wine. So it's a great time for you to all be together. And we do have of course, our breads and pastries that are baked on board. And then, of course, our fresh and locally sourced ingredients. And I promise you're going to have seafood on the Bordeaux trip because, Arcachon is just right there. So these little tastings are fantastic for you. 9 courses. I promise you will be full after the 9 courses, but paired with fabulous regional wine. So, and then, of course, our wine room, our private wine room. So maybe you want to have a private tasting with your group. You certainly can do that. It's a great spot to do some private wine tasting. You have a complimentary sip and sail cocktail hour. So you have an abundance of drinks, and it's a great afternoon. It's right before dinner, and it's a great time to talk amongst yourselves about the day that you experienced. And you'll see that people your fellow passengers have done quite a few different things. So it's always nice to see what everybody else did. And that's a perfect time to gather.
I'm liking that wine room. We might just need to look into it for my birthday. And that leads me directly into my next question. What about alcohol on board? I know many ships do not include beverages as part of the cruise rate and charge high prices for beverages of any kind. What's included with Amawaterways?
Beer and wine are included with meal. That mimosa in the morning. Maybe you want to do champagne yoga. We do offer that. But remember, it's your vacation. You can do whatever you want. And then our entertainment, very enriching entertainment. And it can be anything from our three-piece quartet to dancing at night to a piano player. We may have the destination come on board. We may have a croissant making, when we're on our France itinerary. So an abundance of entertainment that we bring on board throughout the journey.
I haven't heard you mention this yet, but I know it'll come up. So let's talk about motion sickness. I know on ocean cruises, Dramamine is something everybody packs, along with ginger, along with anything that they've heard might help with it. What about river cruises?
Asked a lot about motion sickness. None. You will not get motion sickness like on ocean. It's very calm. We sail normally at night, and that's to give you an opportunity to be in the destination a very long time, sometimes 8 to 11 p.m. at night, sometimes even later. Because remember, on the rivers, we're not going very far. So we may be going 30 miles. Sometimes it's a longer stretch, but normally it's less than 30 miles. So we just have to get from A to B in 30-mile time. So we'll do that at night. Now, let's get into the actual itinerary. So we embark on your vessel in Bordeaux the afternoon, and the rest of the day is free to start exploring. So if you've done a this is where you're going to start, and you have plenty of time in Bordeaux before. So why Bordeaux? Wine, 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 and more wine. The Bordeaux region is really probably the best wines in the world. It is about the ultimate French experience, but really, really about the wine. It dates back to Roman architecture. The 1st century BC, it was named Aquitaine, and that means land of the water. And then in the 18th century, Bordeaux became the 2nd largest port in Europe after London. And its main source was what? Wine. That was the largest export product. The cathedral, St. Andre's, André de Bordeaux. It's a beautiful architectural Gothic. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it really features the Romanesque wall from as far back as 1096. It's also where 13-year-old Eleanor of Aquitaine married her first husband, King Louis, in 1137, and where fodder was stored during the French Revolution. And fodder, can you believe this beautiful cathedral stored feed and hay for the cattle? Of course, this is a great walking city, and I hope you get to partake in the walking of this beautiful city along the river there. This is Point de Pere, and this is actually the bridge that connects the left and the right banks of the Garonne. And it was commissioned by Napoleon and inaugurated in 1822. It was the first stone bridge built in Bordeaux. Since then, we've got 17 bridges.
I'll tell you, Lori, Bordeaux just sounds so rich with history. I am really excited to go discover everything it has to offer. But let's talk about our first stop, Saint Emilion. We've enjoyed Bordeaux, we've settled on board the ship, and we've cruised down the river, waking up in this special city. What can we expect?
When we arrive the next day in Saint Emilion, you have 3 choices of excursions. So a bike and wine tasting sounds fabulous, right? And then we're going to spend time in the village of Saint Emilion, and it's of course the World Heritage Site, or a walking tour and wine tasting. So as I keep talking about wine tasting, you have plenty of opportunities. You may want to experience the monolithic church dating back to the 12th century. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. Then Saint Emilion, the whole medieval town. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's one of the most renowned sites. Monolithic church. You can see it right there. It's carved out of a single limestone rock, and it was in the 12th century. So very interesting there. Then we go on to Chateau Boutonnet, and it's an 18th century chateau and winery with a beautiful panoramic surroundings that has brought us back to life by a lovely family. Natalie and Jerome are deeply involved in the local life and winemaking. And as you stroll through their vineyard, you're going to actually learn about winemaking and the challenges of eco-friendly organic growing. So you're going to get some tastings paired with tapas and tastings of an organic vineyard. So you get to see it's kind of a different scenario than it would be with a regular vineyard because it is organic. So you get to see the challenges that they have. But the wine, I think, is purer than some of the other Bordeaux. So the following day, we go into Bly. The small town is best known for its military importance, the fortress, the citadel there. It's a great views of the river. It's absolutely beautiful, and the vineyard next door. So you'll see the Vauban was the 17th century. It was to protect the region from sea invasions because they could see everything coming from the top. So the top of the fortress, it's impressive. It really, really is impressive. And then we get into Bourg. And of course, Bourg has that walled city also. And it's a medieval port, of course. It's situated on the confluence of the Doron and the Giron rivers. And this historic city lives in medieval walls. So it is a walled city. And you can see some of the remnants built by the Romans. And it was fortified by the English. It's filled with very, very rich architecture. And of course, you're going to have an opportunity, with the local experience of French music. We treat our guests to a wine festival, and this is kind of off the fly, but we enjoy wines from the appellation, Courts de Bourg, and a live performance of traditional French music. So you get infused in the destination, right? We move to Pauillac. Pauillac is located in the Medoc region. So if you're interested in Medoc region wines, you're going to get your feel here. It's known for some of the finest Bordeaux wines. Most beautiful and renowned estate, Chateau Latour, Chateau Mouton Rothschild, or Chateau Lafite Rothschild. And I hope you get to experience some of those fabulous, fabulous Rothschild wines. You'll visit a Grand Cru class estate where you'll see the cellars, and actually you're going to taste a Grand Cru paired with cheese. Move on to Cadillac, and we call this Chateau de Raux. It's 14th century. It was rebuilt after the 12th and 14th century. And there is a noble family who still lives in it 700 years later. It's located in the Sauternes region, and it's known for the Sauternes wine. And the Sauternes wine are a little bit sweeter dessert wines, and exceptional dessert wines. And then we go back to Bordeaux. So this is because there's so much to see around Bordeaux, and this picture's great because it shows you the walkway, how long along the river it goes. You could probably do about 15 miles if you wanted to get on bike. So everything that you did not get to see and do, you can come back into Bordeaux and you have plenty of time to see it. And then all of you art lovers, La Mecca Museum, it is modern art because, Bordeaux has a very vibrant art culture also. It's the newest museum with modern architecture and, of course, works of art. Then the Musée de Bordeaux Baroque Art. It was a fine arts museum, and you have collections around the world, which some of these you might be a little familiar with. Delacroix, Matisse, Picasso, Renoir, Rubens. This is a huge place. If you're an art lover, it's definitely going to be a must-see. This is a must-see, Le Site de Vin, and it's probably the largest wine store I have ever been to. Thousands and thousands. So if you did not get your fill of maybe the Medoc or the Rothschild, you can always pick up a bottle here. It's a brand new attraction. It has the world's largest cultural center dedicated to just wines.
Lori, I so appreciate you coming and taking time to talk with us about this trip in Bordeaux. I know I am super excited about going on this trip in June of 22. It is going to be just such a good time. It looks like we have a question coming in from Miss Janice. Hello, Janice. What do you got?
What's your
Janie,
question, Janie?
I was listening to, like, I love the wine and blah blah blah, but and I know every time I go to Napa Valley, by the time cocktail hour comes, I want something but wine. So, what is the cocktail hour like on the boat?
It is an open bar. It's time that we're offering for you to socialize with the group, but we do offer cocktails, and we offer cocktails all day. They're just at an additional charge. We offer beer and wine with meals, and then we have our cocktail hour that we'll offer cocktails, and sometimes we have a signature drink. It just depends. If that's not what your thing, you can order something else, but it's not about wines. But on this particular itinerary, it's a lot of wine, but sometimes at night you want that cocktail, and you can certainly have it.
Right. Got it. Excellent. Yeah. I remember when Martha and I went to Napa Valley a long time ago, 100 years ago, and at the end of our wine tasting all day, we're like, we want a beer.
And you can. We do
beer with dinner.
Fabulous beers on tap, and different beers of the region. So it's all about the food and the culture of wine, beer, schnapps that are different flavors of the region. There's really sky's the limit.
Oh, yeah. I guess you don't think about that. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you to Lori Smith from Amawaterways for spending time talking about this beautiful trip through the Bordeaux region of France. Amawaterways does not only do river cruising in France, but has cruise itineraries around the world, all throughout Europe, in Africa, and over into Asia. If you are interested in any kind of river cruising, please reach out to Opal&Finch. We would love to make your dream of river cruising come true. All of our contact information is on our website at www.opalandfinch.com. Let's connect and get you traveling. This has been a production of Opal&Finch, a luxury travel firm, inspiring connections through travel. We're an independent affiliate of the Gifted Travel Network, a Virtuoso member agency since 2019.